date is Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. We're gonna get everything called to order. If we can stand up and do the Pledge of Allegiance real fast.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. All right. Roll call. Who we got here tonight?
Liz Hardy.
Ashley Toombs. Amy Marissa.
Christina Gilkey.
All right. So we're missing Melinda is not feeling well today, and Cindy is at work, so she wasn't able to be here tonight. Let's move on to our standing business. Did anybody have any adjustments to the June 10th meeting notes that Ashley sent out to us? Any objections? Approval. I'll send around the approval name.
I'll motion to approve.
So, I'll get
Second.
yep. Get ready to say that. All right. All right. Everybody's done that, and I'll just send that around, and we'll get it all signed. While we're doing that, our old business, we had Founders Week. Seems all like a little slow down we're talking about, but we had the Through the Ages fashion show. I was there for that, and Melinda came for that. It went very well. The kids were really, really cute. So was the adults. There was some pictures on social media. It was really cute. Cute event. I hope we do that again next year. Anybody that didn't get to make it, maybe you guys can help out or come next year. I got to dress up for the 80s. I was so cute. But anyways, all right, and then on to Ashley. She has been working up a list of awareness days for us for the year. Do we have any awareness days coming up that we need to make Brian aware of?
I went ahead and sent the list out. I included Treva and Brian
Okay.
in that.
Okay.
So I just wanted to put the thing on the agenda in case anybody looked it over, had any ideas.
Any
Or
super
anything.
awareness days that might be interesting that we need
I
to?
know next month we have Deaf Awareness Month for
Okay.
September. October, there's Invisible Disability Awareness Week. I made sure to include that one because I know we have several
Oh, yeah.
invisible disabilities just on our committee.
Yes.
And then it's also Learning Disabilities Awareness Month in October.
Okay. Those are some good ones. All right. Does anybody else have any of the older business that we need to talk about? Anything? Nope. All right, well, we'll move on to the upcoming events. We have community days coming up in just a short few weeks. That's the 20th and the 21st of September, Friday and Saturday. Great band lineup for Saturday night. Drone show, that's new this year instead of fireworks. I'm excited for that. I think that should be a lot more comforting to people with the invisible disabilities, and dog owners. Hopefully all of our dog owners will be happy with us this year. So pretty excited for the drone show. I think last year we gave some pretty good recommendations for, parking and things like that. With a lot of the construction going on around us here, it's, we kind of, it is kind of what it is right now until, you know, the construction kind of gets a little bit more under control. Maybe next year, all the future planning might be a little bit better. But I will say, you know, the H&R Block parking lot is designated for handicap parking specifically. And, you know, it is a little bit of a walk, but there's golf carts that will be running. If people need, you know, transportation from there to the square. And then, I don't know if they'll have handicap parking set up down at the, in the park next to the basketball goals.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure about that, but I know that they have the last few events, so that might be marked off as well, just in case people try to park there, be aware of if they do have it designated for handicap. Say that because we do have a lot of kids and mom vehicles and elderly disabilities and that do like to attend the events and need that extra parking where they can catch the golf cart rides, you know, come where they need to be. As far as that, I think I don't know what else. I don't know if we're doing anything specifically. Last year we did like the sensory type thing. We didn't really talk about that this time. I don't know if you guys have any suggestions for that, or if you just want to come and hang out. I am going to have new shirts for us made up this week to send you guys out a picture to show you what I come up with. I just didn't have time to get it. I had it printed, but I didn't have time to get it on the shirt, so the meeting just snuck up on me. But I'll try to get that done by Friday and then send a picture of you guys, you know, to let you all see if you want one or not. As far as I know, I'm going to be around just hanging out Friday and Saturday. Last year, that's kind of what I did. I had a lot of people come up and talk to me about things and, you know, for the community and, but, you know, I don't know what everybody thinks.
Do you know if they're gonna have a spot, 'cause I think last year they had a spot dedicated for handicap for the stage viewing. I don't know. It might be something.
I can check
Yeah.
that, make a note. If Teresa comes in here before our meeting's up, we'll ask her that. I would think so. It was a pretty good hit with them last year.
I thought it
Yeah,
was.
yeah. Because when I went over there last year, it was full, yeah, and it was wheelchairs and, yeah. So, yeah. Teresa, will you guys be having the handicap viewing to the stage like we did last year for Community Days? There was like a section over to the
for the front of the stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can make sure we have that.
Yeah.
One thing about parking for community days though, the A&E Center parking lot will not be available.
I forgot all about that one.
So we usually have it reserved for handicap parking, and unfortunately there was a wedding that was accidentally booked at the same time as community days.
Okay.
And so this was like, they're out of our hands. They had it. So, but I mean, the golf carts run everywhere. And so if you got any solutions or anything we can do.
Well, I said we're gonna still do H&R Block.
We can reserve it for handicap parking. I mean, it's a haul because the event is up here on, here. And the thing is, it's a little hard to have golf carts crossing the highway with community days, so I don't know that that's the best answer. Let me check and follow up with you because there's a chance that we might be able to get bumper to
Basketball
bumper, to let us, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
reserve a spot. I don't know. Let me talk to some of the local places where there are some lots and see if maybe we can get some better solution. And I'll just follow up via email
Okay.
on that.
If not, is there a way for those people that have golf carts for people to call? Like, hey, I'm
No,
parked.
because then we would have to give out personal cell phone
Okay.
numbers, and
Yeah.
that probably wouldn't be a good idea. But let me check on that, and I will, I'll follow up with on it.
Okay.
email.
Okay. All right, so, yeah. Did you guys?
I was just thinking where the Parks Department is, you know, and it won't be, that is a pretty wide open parking lot. Might have, and
Where?
the Parks Department and the
Oh, like
police
police
department.
station.
Oh, down by the
That
police
big
station?
parking lot back
I'm trying to get something on this side, just
Yeah.
because I don't want the golf carts regularly crossing the Market Street, because it's not blocked off for community days, and so
Okay.
with the square being closed, there's a lot of extra traffic on Market Street, and it's not very safe to have the golf carts crossing. So I'm gonna try to find something in this quadrant, you know, maybe, reach out to Bumper, or, I don't know, Grayson's, funeral schedule that day or whatever, like, we may try to find something that, Live Spring might be open by then, they're trying to clean their parking lot out for us, and so, I know we had the bounce houses going in a portion of that, but it wouldn't need the whole parking lot, so maybe we can, just, if you'll give me a couple of, weeks, I will try to get, some kind of answer for you on that. Or it may be that we can even try to put signs up on, a section of the road here close, or I might even be able to talk to the VFW and see if they'll let us have a portion of their parking lot. So I mean, I'll just kind of talk through some things and then see what we can do.
Okay.
Because I mean, I'm just trying to think, like, part of the reason we want close handicap access are for those that, that use devices that can't fit in a golf cart, right? Because the golf cart's gonna be driving everywhere, so if somebody has mobility, concerns, as long as they can get, I'm thinking, as long as they can get somewhere around here, a golf cart's gonna be driving by and picking them up, that's not a problem. It's the people that have wheelchairs or walker devices that are not easily foldable for a golf cart that will need to be able to be close.
Yes.
And so, we might try to block off portions of, maybe in front of Bruce's floor, I don't know. We'll come up with some kind of solution for at least a few places, where we can reserve handicap and we'll probably put our signs up that say wheeled devices only, because we try to make a distinction, kind of like we do with Founder's Day out at the Little League field, where we only allow those that have wheeled devices that way, because if you just can't walk very far, a golf cart can pick you up and carry you, so, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that sounds like a better idea. Okay. Other than that, I don't know if there's anything else for community days that really we could lend a hand to, I mean, other than just showing up and supporting the community and supporting the local music and the local vendors and, that are gonna be up here, and hopefully we'll have good weather and, it'll be a good event. Next in line for community days is Trail or Treat. Last year Trail or Treat was pretty good, I thought, and there was so many people, I cannot even begin to guess the amount of people that came. The weather was perfect. There was just, it was a good event. I don't think there was any kind of chaos. It was just a good time. For that, I'm going to take the assumption that the parking will be handicapped in the same spots, which was at both the, parking for the basketball court and H&R Block. With both of those, even if you are in a wheel device, there's sidewalk, smooth sidewalk, so you can, as long as you got batteries, you are a good pusher, you are, you're good. The one thing that the Parks Department was asking from us was kind of like some suggestions of some sensory stuff, other than just the little like fidget toys that are just the normal things of like what we hand out, you know. They were trying to come up with some different ideas to give. I was thinking it would be a nice idea if maybe we had one little like strip of, even if it was maybe just like 2 vendors on this side, 2 vendors on this side, off somewhere on, you know, in a specific area, maybe by the, where it was a little more quieter or something. I mean, you know, I don't know exactly where that would be. It was pretty, I don't know if we could find a quiet spot, but I mean, maybe even if we were like in the grassy area or something, but something where it would just be handing out those things. So if parents came and they just had, you know, a child with sensory issues, and they, you know, one parent maybe could, or whatever, could go take the other kids and do the big part, and then maybe if there was just this one little strip, then if you had a sensory issue, you could go there, or, you know, but, you know, I was just thinking something maybe different, and then, you know, like one table could give away a little fidget toy, the other one could give away a, whatever, popcorn ball, or what, you know, whatever stuff we come up with, where, you know, maybe there, you know, or you could do 5 or 6 little sections, but it could be just specifically for sensory, you know. What do you guys think? Makes any sense?
My first thought is it's gonna be hard to keep the other kids, to keep it
Yeah.
a quiet area. The kids are just gonna see
Well,
places set up. and
not
then-
so much quiet, but just maybe, you know, maybe we could even mark it, you know, put like a balloon thing over it that says sensory, you know, I don't know, maybe perfect word. Yeah, not right in the main of it, yeah. And, you know, and then maybe if we, you know, we talked about it on social media, got it out on social media, hey, there's gonna be a section in this area that's, will be for, you know, children with sensory issues, or, you know, however we wanna word it. You know, then they can just come to that specific area, you know, rather than walking the whole thing. And it might have parents bring other children that they normally wouldn't bring, you know, like I don't take Carissa, it's hard for us to take her, like we couldn't take her to Trial or Treat. She doesn't, you know, really understand the whole, you know,
Right.
the trick-or-treating thing. She just gets excited because all the other kids are excited, you know, but she doesn't really get it. But then it would be nice, like, you know, that, you know, like to be able to take her and just have one little specific area where she could go and walk through and have people tell her, oh, you're cute, you know, your little costume, because she likes to be told she's pretty. And, you know, and a lot of the kids are like that. Like, they don't hear about the stuff they're getting. It's just that just little bit of attention, you know. So I was just trying to think of something where, you know, it's,
I think it's a good idea.
yeah.
I do. I just think it might be just as chaotic. Unless, like you said, I think posting on social media would be a really good idea,
Yeah.
to let people know that. Trying to reach out to.
Because there's all
specific
kinds of different
businesses.
leagues over there, you know, where
Absolutely.
you can go off section-wise, and as long as you have it on a smooth surface where they're walking, or if someone's in a wheelchair or something like that, you know, so there's pretty good areas over there where it could be done,
It seemed
you
to me
know.
last year it was a lot less chaotic on the other side of the bridge.
shelter
Closer
house
to
side.
I was gonna say
Yes,
over
the
the
Yes.
shelter houses.
Yes.
And then, is there now a paved path to the basketball court? Cause I wonder if maybe they could utilize that space on, but then you don't wanna give it out to the kids that want to play basketball, an area not to, but just an option.
Or it could even be, it could be set up on the shelter house part. What you got?
So, Outward Bound Support Services will actually be open that night for that event. Just saying that the Outward Bound and the city have a very good working relationship, and, I mean, I'm happy to work with Jennifer David to advertise that in our marketing for the event, that is, and that way you have a built-in sensory-friendly space without having to create something different.
Yes.
I mean, it's right there at the top of the hill. It is a little bit difficult to get to in the sense if you're in the park, you're gonna have to go around, but there is parking at the top there too. And I mean, I have no issue making that handicap parking too. The way I look at it is, you know, we can,
Well, we would advertise it specifically
Right.
for the
right.
sensory.
The only thing is I would
Yeah.
probably leave the, I would either need to leave the H&R Block or the basketball court parking open and have like just two, you see what I'm saying? Like, if we're blocking off on top of the hill for outward bound, then we would need to do either H&R or the other as well, but not all three, because then that's gonna get.
I would, if we do outward bound, I would say just block off the top of the hill, let them have the basketball court normally, and then that would be pretty good. Because if you were coming into outward bound, you wouldn't, you know, if you're above the top of the hill and if you're in a wheeled device, you're not gonna be able to get down.
You still can, you're just gonna have
You
to
know,
come
you
down the
just have to go
sidewalk.
over on a long way.
Right,
yeah.
you're just gonna have to come
Yeah.
straight down the sidewalk to H&R
Yeah.
Block and
Yeah.
go in there. So I mean, it's not impossible.
No.
So what we could do is, you know, just, I don't know, we can figure that out, but she will be open, and that is kind of like a built-in spot.
Yes.
And we already have a long-term relationship with Outward Bound where we've done multiple events together in the past, so it's not unheard of for us to slap her as a sponsor in kind, you know, for the event. And
Yeah, so our goal with that was to kind of have some people set up almost kind of like a trunk or treat,
Mhm.
but a table or treat was already the kind of the thing that was the plan of that, of Outward
Okay.
Bound's thing. So,
because I had asked Jennifer David if there was any chance she could get the sensory bus that from
yes.
Jefferson County to come
Yes.
down. I had spoken to the gentleman myself, and he wasn't sure if he could do it because it's a different county. He said he might be able to do it for a donation, and I told him the city was willing, you know, to make a donation to get him down here, because we would pay for any other kind of bus to come down, you know, I didn't have a problem doing that. And then in conversation with Jennifer, I realized she was gonna have it open, so I've actually asked her, like, if it's open, can we partner with you on that? And she has said yes. So, if we're able to get the bus down, we might be able to park it in another location, so there are two locations. But if not, then Outward Bound is open, and so just without having to create another space, that might be an option. Specifically though, I wanted to have some kind of item at the city tent that can be given out that is not food, not candy, that would be attractive enough item and not small enough for a little one to swallow. So I was hoping that you guys could come up with something that might, that we could even order as our brand, you know, and have the park stuff, maybe even put you know, Disability Advisory Committee on it, like have it branded, but I need that soon in order to order it. Because I wanted to be able to have something there at the city tent to pass out in case somebody has an allergy or any other reason that they would want some non-food related trinket. We will have books again. We passed out books last time and were wildly successful. So we will have copies of The Wizard of Oz to give away. But other than that, I thought some other kind of thing, and I thought I would put to this group of people who have children who would be able to answer that better.
I know one thing that the kids are really responsive to when we're doing intakes or cars evaluations. They love bubbles.
I was thinking
Bubbles?
I've seen those little things too, and I was
Okay.
thinking about that.
Okay.
I almost sent you that the other
Okay.
day, and I was like,
Well, if you guys all think bubbles are good, then we can just get
Yeah.
some branded bubbles with Disability Advisory, you know, from your Charlestown Disability Advisory Committee. And that way we'll have those to be able to pass it. And we don't discriminate, I mean, we're not going to tell a kid they can't have them, and, you know, we're not gonna like make them do an assessment of whether or not they have a disability to get the bubbles, but you know, and once they're gone, but that's something we can do. That's all I was asking, like, what's a reasonable
They love bubbles.
thing to give out, so.
I like bubbles.
Me too.
We'll do a non-vote on that.
And usually those are pretty good for branding, because, you know, you get
Yes.
some,
Yes.
a label around them.
Okay.
So the vehicle, I don't know if anybody knows that, so it's a sensory activation vehicle, and it's actually it's like a pool enclosed trailer, and that Jennifer has partnered with a few different places, and the gentleman that takes care of that, it is all by donation that this runs, but it's basically a sensory room in a mobile trailer, and he goes to all the different events, and you can just go out there and get in the little enclosed trailer. It's like 12 or 16 foot long, but he's really got it pretty cool. It's just, you know, he's got stuff on the walls and, you know, like filling thing, you know, like rug and stuff like that, but it's a really neat thing, and he's been to multiple events that I've been here lately, and it's pretty cool what he did. And he's having pretty good success with, you know, taking it to different, you know, people contacted him and stuff to bring it to different places. He's getting pretty full schedule. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to make it work for that. And also maybe for community days, we're trying to see, I haven't talked, I gotta get with her this week to see about the community days, if we're gonna be able to have it that day.
And she confirmed with me it is.
Oh,
She does have
it
it
is?
for community days.
Okay, good, yeah. So, yeah, so that's pretty cool too. We were trying to work something up for the community days, thing, maybe some vendor things inside where people could come in if it's a hot, you know, naturally the trailer treats won't be hot, but the community days, we could, you never know, we might catch last year it was pretty warm all day that day, so, you know.
Since is she going to be open just on Friday and Saturday, or just Saturday for that?
I don't know. I
Do you
thought
want us to
both
block off that
days,
top parking lot for community days as well? Try to find
yeah,
something
let
over
me,
here and over there?
Let me, I've got a message with her this evening, on some other stuff, so let me message with her about it this evening, and I'll send you a formal email telling you.
Does
the
this
same
group,
for it.
do you think that having that one blocked off for community days would be beneficial as well? I mean, if we can find space up here, obviously I'm gonna find a place up here too, but just having, it's not too far from the crosswalk to come across, we can block that one off easily as well for handicap parking. And that way she has that lot right by her place and it's close to the crosswalk, so.
Yeah.
Why don't we plan on doing that as well as trying to find one on this side?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we will start, hopefully we can get a plan for that by the end of the week or the first of next week, and then we will start advertising on the Outward Bound page, and I'll send a formal thing out to you guys and to the city,
Okay.
Parks Department and stuff to let you guys know what we've got going to team up for that, and maybe some more information on the trailer tree. Does anybody else have any other ideas besides bubbles or anything for?
I think the bubbles are great
Specific
for
thing,
what-
is that
yeah,
good for
no,
this,
I'm
you
good.
happy with that?
Yep.
Okay. Any other ideals maybe on the little, well, I guess we don't need to do a section now. I'll talk with Jennifer and we'll see what her group of volunteers wants to do as far as, well, you know, handing out some sensory stuff up there. That whole building, I don't know if any of y'all have been into it. It's awesome building. Jennifer it was amazing what was in her brain. She walked into that building and it was just concrete and brick and dirt, and she said, I'm gonna do all these great things, and just like 3 short months later, I walked into that building and I was like, oh my gosh, she did all those things. Like, how in the world did she do that? But even down to the art on the walls, I mean, it's just a beautiful place, and it is perfect not only for, you know, children, but for adults with disabilities and stuff. It's a pretty great facility. And she's got a couple little rooms sectioned off sensory-wise as well. She has a bathroom that has a adult size changing station. Anybody has, there's nowhere that you can go hardly that has an adult size changing station. But so she's got all that in there, and so yeah, so it's a great place, you know, for you know, if an adult would have to come in and have a quiet space, or any children, and if they need privacy, like I said, there's like 2 different rooms that she's got that would be good for that. So I will get with her, and we will send out a better plan, hopefully within the week. That'd be an exciting partnership for Trail of Treats for us. So most likely that's where I would be, is up on top of the hill. I wouldn't be down there. So, we could, instead of having a table down in the Trail of Treats, we could be up there, or if you guys still wanted to break off and do it, that's up to you all. I know they have, I don't know how the lineup's looking this year, but I mean, last year they had tons and tons of people that hand out.
I think it might be smart
Yeah.
for us to have a table down there and.
And tell
then
them
we
to
be
come
able
up,
to-
that's a
yeah.
good idea too, so we can plan on doing that, that's a good idea, yeah. That way you can
With
tell people to come to the top of the hill.
with the city handing out bubbles, if somebody was there, we could also remind,
Yes,
even if it wasn't our own.
yes, here's a bubble, go to the top of the hill.
Yep.
Here's a bubble, go to the top of the hill and blow them down on the, down on the,
Linda.
like, there's your Wizard of Oz.
Well, the bubbles are perfect
Yes.
because of the Wizard of Oz.
Because of the Wizard of Oz, so there you go. Everybody can stand with their Wizard of Oz books at the top of the hill and blow bubbles down over
There you go.
down over the land. Cute. All right. I think it's a little early to get into the other holiday events coming up. I think so, anyway. I don't want to talk about Christmas. I'm very upset when I walk into the shopping stores and there's already Christmas stuff everywhere, and it's not even Halloween yet. Are you a Christmas girl? Look at
No,
you, you're doing
no.
your face like.
Do you know what I did for the last 4 years? No, I love Christmas, I'm just not ready for that just quite yet.
I am not, I wanna at least get through Labor Day first, goodness.
Right.
I mean, we can't even get through Labor Day and we're already on to Christmas, it's crazy, but yeah, so I think we can save that till after, at least after Community Days, we'll worry about that. I know we have another meeting scheduled, do you know what?
We have September 30th and then November 4th.
Okay, September 30th and November 4th. Do we think that is, we can go ahead and I guess discuss that if we think that's good. So the September 30th we can use to finalize our Trail of Treats ideas. November, I think, I don't think we need to, I think we already discussed we don't need to worry about having a December meeting. We could just decide whatever, for whatever we're gonna help out with the Christmas stuff this year, whatever we end up doing with that.
Yeah, I think December gets way too busy. If we,
Yeah.
know, at least have an idea by November, anything else we can iron out and via text message.
Yeah. I can't even think of what we do for Christmas at this point. All right. Well, does anybody have any, thing they wanna talk about, or anything that's, have you been to any, other disability events, or seen any other committees or anything like that does anything that we really haven't been talking about?
Lately, I haven't been, going to the ones for the little in a minute, but I know, like, if you guys ever do wanna sit on one of their meetings, like, there's a lot to take in from that.
Yeah, totally different world. Those
Mhm.
meetings. I've watched one on the website thing, but yeah, totally different world than us. I mean, they have so much going on. Yeah, I haven't really been to anything. Everybody, nothing really new with the school or anything like that stuff yet. Has everybody seen the progress on the Charlestown Elementary? It's exciting.
It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Just thinking ahead with the new year coming, do we have to nominate new members that,
Next on
not,
the list.
not just like members, but I mean, open it up for people to come on or step off if we need to?
If people want to resign, if anybody wants to step off, they just have to let me know and I can fill the vacancies. But it kind of assumes that unless you tell me that you're leaving, that you're here. I know Marissa is moving, and so that will be one open position that I will need to fill. So if anybody else wants to come off, you just need to let me know so that I can look ahead and fill that.
If you, I had it on my notes for if anybody does want to, resign or, to let us know by October 1st, only because we just need a couple months to put something on, the city page to fill that spot, because it truly, when everything started, it does need to be someone, just so you know, that is a city limit, live within city limits. What are you listed as? So we can be starting.
Mine is, because I have a disability.
You are actually the,
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, so we are looking for a adult person with some disability. I mean, you could call yourself, that you could be called that by yourself, that's, but it just needs to be someone that is living specifically with a disability, whether it is visible, not visible, doesn't, we welcome any kind of, we just need that position filled.
And when I win my election,
So what is your action, then you're listed as?
I'm a provider. And I've actually, at Founder's Day, I met a provider.
That lives in city limits?
Yes. And so I've got to get her last name from Andrea Stenley, but I had already kind of mentioned to her, and she was interested. So I'm going to get you her name and her contact information. I'll get it from Andrea.
Okay.
I'll get that to you within the next week. Just in case.
Okay. And then, Cindy,
Yeah, so Cindy technically doesn't live inside the city limits anymore. She's kind of like Liz, she's just outside. Now, this is not a state, this isn't a group that's established by state law. There's nothing that says that you absolutely have to live in the city, other than we give preference to, and I want the majority of the board to live in the city.
yes,
So, Cindy is here because she's a caregiver of children with disabilities, and so, knowing that we have to replace one for sure, possibly two members, if Cindy wants to stay on, I have no issue with it, because you still have an extreme minority of numbers who are, so it would just be Liz and Cindy at that point. And she is, again, right outside, she's still in the
she lives
township.
across the street.
She literally lives across the street from the city limits.
From city limits.
So, I mean, this
yes.
isn't like pulling somebody over from Floyd County or
No.
Jefferson County or whatever. This is a person who's in the township. And I had written, when I wrote the executive order that established this, I knew that there was the possibility where if we needed to find someone, then the next round out would be the township. So again, as long as they're in the township, because arguably, someone who lives in the township is coming into the city to use our services, visit our events, and do those things, and therefore has input in it. We just prefer that it be preference to those that are in the city limits, and where that cannot be found, that it can be outside, as long as it still remains in the township. So, and I don't want there to be a majority of people who aren't in the city limits, so.
as far as I know, Cindy wants to stay.
Yeah, and
If
are her
we-
children enrolled in Charlestown schools?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So that's the other connection. So that's how I justify having Liz here, because she works with Charlestown schools. And so the fact that her kids are enrolled in Charlestown schools, I mean, there's definitely enough of an argument to be made that Cindy has connections deeply rooted in the city of Charlestown itself, so.
Yeah, and it's literally like the city building to the gazebo.
Right, right. It's across the road. She didn't realize that she was out
Yeah,
until I
yeah.
told her she was out.
Yeah, but I can't blame her, it's a beautiful place. So, yeah, so.
And then I do have one other issue before you guys adjourn, that I want, because I'm gonna have to soon, and I wanted to make sure I covered one more thing with you, before, because, at your September 30th meeting, I'm going to have renderings of a concept for a renovation of the Little League Park. This is something that we've been working on with the Little League Board, and 2 council members, Brian Hester and Chuck Deaton, have worked to help inform the conceptual layout. We started with very broad, narrowed down to 3 options. We've narrowed it down to 1 option, and when we get that finalized, once I hear back from them as to whether or not it meets their functional needs for playing ball, the next step is to come and say, we think that we have managed accessibility the entire way through, but as a final pulse check, before we move into any kind of official design phase, I want this committee to look at it as well. And so I will have those renderings for you at your September 30th meeting, so that will need to go on the agenda, just for your review. I don't know if I'll have the cost estimates at that time yet to present, but we will at least have the renderings. I will tell you that one of the options for the cost renderings will include a challenger field. So the smallest field that we're putting there would be a field for, to be able to hold the challenger league. So hopefully, and they've looked at, the engineering firm that's been putting this together, we told them that full accessibility was important. And so they've looked at that from the beginning, but I will want you to look at the layout of it and just practically think through navigating that space to see if it works. And then we will also include this committee if we get to launch this towards the actual design. This is just the concept. But if the council decides to move forward with it and we find funding and everything is secure and we move into a design phase, I would expect that this committee would have a session with we would have it as a public meeting because together you're a quorum, but we would have a public meeting and have the designers come in and meet with you and get your direct feedback on the design phase too. So.
Exciting.
That is so cool, I'm excited.
Do we have any updates on, before we do adjourn, Shadow Lake? How are we doing with Shadow Lake on are we close to starting?
Oh, no.
So it's still.
So Shadow Lake has always been dependent upon the tax revenue generated from the business park. And with the business park, we're dependent upon the assessments. So Shadow Lake Business Park did not, unfortunately, assess in time for this year for there to be revenue growing in that TIF fund. And so it will assess for next year. They are selling property, and so it is moving along. So you have the DCE, the Dan Christianity Legacy Complex, as well as their Gotta Go Dumpsters and Recycling is operational. They obviously are paying property taxes into this. They have sold 2 parcels of land to U.S. Capital, and they're already breaking ground on those this week. They just closed last week. They're ready to break ground. So those buildings are going up, and as soon as they get a tenant for those, it will, begin to kick in that process. But the way that property taxes work, you assess for the next year payable. So there's always that delay, and it just didn't assess in time for us to have revenue this year. We had hoped to be able to, at this year, start the first very initial phase, which was the 1.5-mile walking track, but that's gonna have to wait till next year. It's still high priority for us. We're just waiting because the one thing we don't wanna do in light of all of the tax bills going up because of individual property assessments, we do not want to do this with another tax referendum. We're waiting for that revenue to grow on its own. So it's still on the radar, we still have the concept, we're just waiting for them to sell more land and put more businesses out there.
Good deal. All right.
We also did apply for a grant, not that it's somewhat tangential to this. The Community Foundation of Southern Indiana has a grant for, the same grant that we used for the playground, the large grant that they put out. We applied for the first round for another $150,000 to purchase an ADA fully transit trolley. primarily targeting our senior citizens populations, because we want to be able to get them to the group that meets on Tuesdays at the A&E. This would provide services primarily for the housing authority and for the river crossing facility to transport people there, but also to engage our senior citizens for other events, maybe in other locations, other cities. It has a full lift. It's a 38 passenger trolley, sort of like if you've been to French Lick and you've seen those trolleys. It's a similar style, so it can hold 38 people. It has a full wheelchair lift at the back with space for wheelchair access. And so we applied for that. We made it through the first round. We were asked to continue and submit for the next round. And so those were due Friday. I submitted it day before yesterday. You'll cross your fingers and toes that we get that grant. And I'll keep you updated as we know more.
And then I did see on social media where the playground equipment got updated at Canoble Park.
Yes. Wish it could have been a fully accessible playground. It does qualify for, it is ADA, technically it is an ADA playground in the sense that the risers and steps and handrails that are in place make it an ADA playground, but it's not what you would consider a fully accessible playground because of the mulch and because of those things. But as you know, those are so terribly expensive to build that we just simply can't put one in every single playground. I wish, and maybe one day, we'll work towards that goal. But for now, but it did get upgraded.
Yeah, well, that was good, because that was one when we did the evaluations.
Yeah.
There was a couple cracked
Yeah.
things, and so, it's, I rode out by there. And, it looked nice. I know a lot of people were excited for that to get reallocated out there. Not for the other one to close, but for that one again. But that was nice. All right, so are we ready to adjourn? And I guess we're good. All right, so does anybody know?
Motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
All right. We are adjourned, guys.
Thank you all.
Look at my watch, can I?
5:49.